police officers. It's another Kiwanis meeting of North St. Andrew. We are asking for your blessing, asking for your guidance, and assist those that are on their way to this meeting, help them that they will reach here in time. All these and other mercies I ask in Jesus' name. Amen.
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 Fellow Kiwanis, please join me in reaffirming the objects of Kiwanis International. To give primacy to the human and spiritual, rather than material values of life. To encourage the daily living of the golden rule in all human relationships. To promote the adoption and the application of higher social, business, and professional standards. To provide
A more intelligent,
aggressive, and serviceable citizenship. To provide through Kiwanis clubs a practical means to form enduring friendships, to render altruistic service, and to build better communities. To cooperate in creating and maintaining that sound public opinion and high idealism which makes possible the increase of righteousness, justice, patriotism, and goodwill.
Thank you very much, Director Damian, GP Audley, and IPP Michael. We will proceed with our program. I want to welcome each and everyone who has joined us this evening, those online and here at the Police Officers Club, to our Kiwanis education meeting. And we have a very informative presentation to be made this evening by our district international trustee. He will be introduced at the appropriate time. However, to do the official welcome, I'm going to invite our president designate, the Brown, to do the welcome. Let's welcome him, please.
Good evening, those here at the Police Officers Club and those joining us online. See, our numbers are swelling at the Police Officers Club. Good side. Keep it swelling. So I'd like to welcome everyone. As the President pointed out, tonight is a very special night, very interesting, promises to be, and very informative. And I'm sure a lot of persons will benefit from this interaction this evening. Before I go on, I'd like to caution everybody, well, those online, to pay attention to the position of the microphone. Keep it in the mute position unless you are asked to address the meeting. Clubs online, please place your details in the chat, the club name, leader of the delegation, and the number of persons in the delegation, if you may, and it will be acknowledged at some point in time during the meeting. I'd like to, well, I'm not seeing any visiting clubs here at POC, so be it. But I'd like to welcome any club that's visiting with us from outside of Jamaica. Welcome to you, if you're online. And I'd like to also welcome clubs in the other divisions, Division 25, 24, 23 West, and 23 East. I do expect to have a lot of persons joining us online because this meeting at this time of the year is very instructive to a lot of persons who intend to take office in a little while. So I'll welcome the clubs in Division 23 Central, and I'll call their names. 23 Central Surrey Online, Kiwanis Club of Barbican, Capital City, Kiwanis Clubs of Caribbean Emerging Leaders, Constant Spring, Friends Across Border, JTS St. Andrew, Kiwanis Club of Kingston, Kiwanis Club of Nation Builders Kingston, Stony Hill, St. Thomas, Young Professionals Kingston, and Young Professionals St. Andrew, and West St. Andrew. Welcome to you, those of you who managed to join us online. I'm not seeing anyone here. I'd also like to welcome any guests of Kiwanians. I always like to acknowledge guests of Kiwanians. Guests become prospects, prospects become members, and members help us to achieve our mandate. So are there any guests of Kiwanians, either here at the club or online? Give me any hand first. Give him a round of applause, please. Thank you. Director Damien has introduced his guest, Prospect Jamoy. Jamoy, you're embarked on a bold step. Right? Not many people embark on this journey. And like I always tell people, if it was easy, anybody could do it. But it takes a special breed to do it and do it well. Thank you for coming, and I'm hoping that you'll be with us for the requisite amount of meetings, certainly, and then take that bold decision to join our club. We welcome you. Thank you very much for joining us.
Good evening, fellow Kiwanis. President-elect designate Jason, and I have one guest online. His name is Ayrton Salmon. Welcome, Ayrton, to our meeting.
Thank you very much, PPD Jason, who would welcome his guest, Ayrton Salmon, who is online. Can you give him a round of applause, please? Similar, this is his first meeting, right? Second, third? Okay. Ayrton, are you hearing me? All right, I'll see what you're saying just the same. I'm going to assume that you're hearing me. All right. My best information tells me that you have attended 3 meetings.
Yes, I can hear you. Sorry.
How many meetings have you attended?
This will be my second meeting.
Second meeting.
Yes, this is my second meeting. Sorry about that.
You plan to be present at other meetings?
Yes, sir.
Present at other meetings. All right. It's
my intention.
Okay. Thank you very much. It's a progression. 3 meetings mandatory, and then there are some steps to take after that. But the boldest step is to agree to become a member of the Kiwanis Club of North St. Andrew. Like I just pointed out to Jamoy, if it was easy, anyone could do it. It takes a special breed. So I look forward to seeing you again, interacting with you, and hopefully guide you in taking that bold step. Thank you very much for joining us. A round of applause, please.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
You're welcome. So for our faculty advisors who are online, thanks for joining us. And our SLPs, always there with us. Our builders, key clubbers, certificates. I know some of you are out there. Thank you for joining us. And it would be remiss of me not to mention the men of the Kiwanis Club of North St. Andrew. Right, those stalwarts who over the years have made this club great and continue to do so. Thank you, gentlemen, for coming out, especially here at the Police Officers Club. And persons online, I'm not joking when I say our numbers are swelling at the Police Officers Club, which is a good sign. I thank you, gentlemen, for coming out. And I also thank those who couldn't join us here, but are online. Thank you very much. I do have an apology for absence for yes, Trevor. And I do believe Director Kishman as well would have tendered an apology. Are there any other? Yeah, I think he indicated that he would be able to make it. Are there any other apologies for absence? Oh yes, Richard Buckle. Richard Buckle had tendered an apology as well. He couldn't make it this evening. Any other? Can somebody assist those ladies at the back, please? Thank you for joining us, ladies. Is somebody going to introduce these two ladies, or are they going to introduce themselves? Go ahead. That's a big place. Rhode Island. Awesome.
So I'm listening, and I'm still a professor of that. Last role I was EP, so nice to be here.
Thank you, EP. Rosemary. Round of applause, please.
Good evening, everyone. Terry from Kiwanis.
Awesome. So you brought her here today. All right. It's good to have you from Meadowvale and from Rhode Island, Massachusetts. Thank you very much for coming. We welcome you. We're happy to have you. And I'm sure you'll enjoy our meeting this evening. Thank you very much. Again, Clubs Online, please place those details there so we can acknowledge them. I'm not logged in online, but Jason, how many press do we have online? 71. All right, so we have a whopping 68 persons online. And like I mentioned earlier, our numbers are swelling at the Police Officers Club. So feel free to switch off your computer at home and make your way down here. You still have a few seats. But press 68 online and you see the numbers here at the POC. I now hand over to you and wish you a very good meeting. Thank you very much.
Thank you, PD Derek. Let me just acknowledge those who have placed their details in the chat. Director Marjorie from Kiwanis Club Greater Portmore. We have President Andrea from South St. Andrew. 4 in the delegation. We have President Ashel from Nation Builders Kingston. We have 3 from Kiwanis from Garden Parish. President Jessica and 5 members from Arden High School Key Club. We have DP Georgia from Stony Hill and fellow Changemaker President Pauline is also on from Stony Hill. We have Holy Child Key Club is on. 1. We have Governor Kajani from the Jamaica District, Keep Club. And we also have President Kerry from Meadowvale, so we have 1 online and 2 in-out. And we have District Administrator Christopher Humber and members from Spanish Town, their unit. JTS, DP Andrew, and signing the delegation. Thank you so much for joining us. And we have Eastern St. Andrew has 2 online. I think the others will be joining us at POC. DP Ghana is still looking out for the ladies to join us here. All right, thank you so much for joining. So 16 Meadowvale's delegation, thank you for joining and we look forward to a good meeting. Thank you so much. I'm going to invite our chairman for membership to do our birthdays and anniversary. Chairman John, let's welcome him, please.
As usual, thank you, President Dwayne. Good evening to fellow Kiwanians, guests, SLPs, and of course our prospects, Prospect Dean Paul, Prospect Jason, Prospect Dale, and Prospect John Moore. President, between last week, Thursday, and present, we had no members as far as we were concerned celebrating birthdays. However, let me hasten to quickly identify DB John and wife Everett, who would have celebrated their wedding anniversary yesterday. So as usual as a club, we extend, of course, our belated greetings, and of course we hope that the day was extremely fabulous, and we continue to wish them many more. So that's DB John and wife Everett. For good news, President, and this one we want to quickly acknowledge Alana, who is the daughter of PD Horace. Now, she was awarded one of the 4 Fulbright scholarships, and as a club, we wish her all the best in her academic pursuits, and hopefully, whether in the near future, she will also be a Kiwanian. Obviously, not a member of North St. Andrew, unfortunately, but I know that there are other Kiwanian clubs out there that will, of course, welcome her. President, from the membership committee, that is it. So, as usual, I turn it over to you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Chairman John, and of course, we celebrate with our members, and we certainly are pleased when our members and their family excel. So congratulations again to Kiwanis Horace Nelson and his daughter Alana Nelson. All right, thank you, Chairman. So last week we announced the Kiwanis 23 Central District Fellowship Shield, Interclub and Fellowship, and that was named in honor of one of our past directors, PD Noel Paddy Watson. I know many of the members are not familiar with who DP Paddy Watson is, and so I'm going to invite DP Mark to come and to just highlight some of the areas of. While he's coming, let me welcome our charter member, DLG Ashley, who is with us. Let's give him a big round of applause. And good to see our DP Howard, who is back with us in person. Good to have you, DP Howard. Wonderful. Great. Oh, I knew I saw a past chairman and past director dressed in blue this evening. So also I'm glad to see past director Jason, who's back with us in our presence. Round of applause. Yes. So standing welcome to you, DP, past director Jason. Over to you, DP, man.
Thanks, President. Fellow Kiwanis, NSLP members, prospects. As the President said, it would be remiss of us to have such a stalwart Kiwanian servant get something named after him, and after the club probably doesn't know who Paddy Watson was. So I'm just going to use a couple minutes to talk about a man who was a big man and epitomized what that shield should represent. So, it's really those pictures. Some made that picture as Paddy, that was a church service at St. Thomas Aquinas. Paddy was very, St. Thomas Aquinas. Paddy was very involved. Every chairman, every president, there was, if you had a top 4 person, they could cover the club. Had to be in the top 4. So, we had a church service. That's really for the white, as far as circuit right card and commander white. Right, that was international convention, the first. I was in Vienna. So you see him today, right corner here. And I thought DLG as it, according to Bible. As far as a builder's club meeting, when it involves the SLP, ask the builder's club and key club, it's not an interclub for parties going to involve themselves in the lives and of those youngsters. And again, you rarely find an SLP meeting where that party would represent. Party would have favorite of the ladies. So Fridays will be in hope and kiss more later than that party. Those are 2 faculty advisors, our faculty advisors. It's not kind of stuff. No, I'm going to come up and see that some landmills, that was at some condition, but anywhere party was the ladies were, there was that expression of love. Yes, you are.
Yes.
The miserable SEC, flank right, right, party right, party and right were quite a combination. And you may wonder if there are no young people party, but believe me, as a young party, party never grew old. Same party I joined the club I saw in 91, the same party, all along up to this day. That's EP, Franklin, and Paddy, myself and Paddy, and there would have been 100 such pictures because Paddy had so many special friends. That's Paddy, I learned it. It's over here. That prayer charge is special. Paddy present, probably present that day. Women voting for the that day was the man gospel. Okay. That is the Women's Center, the daycare that we built at the Women's Center. We're doing a tour there. And as Paddy had Meals on Wheels, there was no activity in the club that Paddy was not part of. So you could have Paddy making sure that part of the young chairman in that picture, that he got a fair idea and probably a question of what to do. That's Paddy very involved. As the maker of the man, Paddy wouldn't go to a project just to stand. Paddy would be working, and so although Dwight is going fast with him and trying to tickle him that he messes up the painting. Paddy was there, and I probably won't say from right here, probably the LG is big braver than me, but some of the things that Paddy probably told Dwight right there. That's fit for a podium. Paddy at work days and sitting in meeting. Paddy the domino player. Paddy the French domino player and scorer. Paddy getting his Legion of Honor at the time. And that star represents Paddy more than one way. Paddy did a lot of work at Texaco. And you know Texaco. Paddy himself has started Jamaican Road. And I said Paddy was the star of the Kiwanis Road, both in Jamaica and district, and probably international as well. There are very few Kiwanis clubs that they feel the impact of Paddy. I will not go into much more right now. I will just abuse my privilege and say that Paddy was Kiwani here in between Norman here. And probably I would go and say, Norman, I have two things to say about Paddy. I would ask him to, I put him on the spot and say, if you could say something about my new name, that's Kiwani here. Not many president have joy of doing that.
Well, good night, fellow Kiwanis.
Remember, people are dying to hear you. Yes.
Fellow Kiwanians and guests, Commander Whitehead, Paddy, as we knew him, was one of those Kiwanians during my years as president who was constantly by my side, guiding a young Kiwanian as president, and I probably might still be one of the youngest presidents that North St. Andrew has seen. Suffice to say, during that year, we did a lot of clubbing, and part of our strategy was to make sure that we interclub with all clubs in Jamaica, and in particular, our sponsored youth clubs. And we were able to do a lot of things with Paddy's guidance and help. And certainly, there's no one, I think, that is more deserving of being Kiwanian than the year during my presidency. Thank you very much. Have a blessing.
So at that time, the owners had us to pay the absolute best tribute to the memory of our circle Paddy. That shield has to come to North St. Andrew. No two ways about it. Bear in mind the spirit of Paddy, that it wasn't just in that clubbing, it was the way he involved himself seamlessly in the entire actual club. And in a fellowship to Paddy wasn't just more than a certain number of members at that business. No, it's the things that happened after a meeting, the full fundraising and Kiwanis experience. That's a fellowship, and that's a memory of Paddy we want to pay tribute to. So President Wayne for Kiwanis, the Paddy Watson Shield Fellowship is North St. Andrews.
Thank you, DP Mark, and certainly the challenge has been given, and so I encourage members, let us continue. Let us increase the momentum for interclubbing. The point has been well said. Thank you, DP Mark. Let me just also acknowledge online we have LG Rosemary Henry, our Lieutenant Governor for Division 23 Central. Welcome, LG. Good to have you, and welcome the LG Pam and the LG Christine from First City, and we see Meadowvale's delegation is increasing now at 8, and certainly our fellow change maker president from JTS, the JTS St. Andrews delegation is also increasing 8 members at the moment. Thank you all. So at this time, we're going to move to the main event for this evening, Kiwanis education. As I said earlier, we have a very distinguished Kiwanian who is here to impart knowledge from both experience and study to us. I invite all the chairmen, all the officers, directors, those who want to be directors, want to be officers, listen keenly as the district trustee designate, Leighton McKnight, presents to us. We invite DTD Leighton. Let's welcome him as he speaks.
We're going to run through fast. Thank you, President. Wayne, fellow Kiwanians, guests, very pleasant. Good evening. Good evening. Yes, so, and I'm glad to see two distinguished presidents, Rosie and Terry from Meadowvale. Rosie's visiting. When I was LG, Rosie was one of my presidents. He was of that great, the bestest class of presidents ever. Yes. And she's here visiting with us. Glad to see her. In fact, she tells people I was the one who made her president, but that's not in accordance with the bylaws. I won't claim it. I don't know what it made of it. So, fellow Kiwanians and guests, I want to coach you to talk to us about role and responsibilities of the board. Well, what in Kiwanis, we're kind of president. The operations of the club is up to the president, and it's not so really. Our documents don't say that. The bylaws are clear as to who is definitely responsible for the running of the club, and I get into the detail. So, Jason, let's click through the slides quickly, because here I'm going to speak about the board, and that everybody should know that our standard bylaws speaks to the structure of the board. As I said, the first part of the presentation really focuses on the board, okay, who has a lot of responsibility. And, you know, in North St. Andrew, and I'm going to give the presentation a little generic because there are other clubs, so there are things maybe specific to us and may not be applicable. But as the governing document speaks, the officers, is a president, definitely. You must have president, you must have a president-elect, you must have an immediate past president. You can have vice president. Believe it or not, vice president is not mandatory in Kiwanis. In North St. Andrew, we have typically gone with like 3, you know, but it's optional. And you must have a treasurer, you must have a secretary, and you can have an assistant secretary. In fact, we in North St. Andrew have always had assistant treasurer and assistant secretary. The governing document speaks to no 2 offices can be combined on the board except for secretary treasurer. So some clubs have what you call a secretary treasurer because the governing documents allow you to do that, right? So the club size and structure will determine your officers. Years ago, Kiwanis started what we call a very fixated standard bylaw, but over 10 years ago, maybe 2013, we changed it whereby it gives you some flexibility. So while there are some guidelines that we're not able to go out of, you can, you know, just like I mentioned, vice president, you can have 1, 2, 3 vice president, you can have none. You know what I mean? That Kiwanis give you that. You must have president, you must have president-elect because they're serious in succession planning. So your club bylaws will determine how much people you have on your board. I think at North St. Andrew one time we were at 9, right? We are now at 7. right? We were 9 in the big days when we were like 330 members, right? Um, the board and officers and directors serve the club best when they have a good understanding of the club's culture, traditions, and values. And that's important because each Kiwanis club has its own culture. You know, I don't know if, and I'm glad I said DP Franklin in the house. I'll give you a good thing, example about culture. Years ago, North St. Andrew was noted for its motor car raffle. Nobody could. Only North St. Andrew and Red Cross could do big raffles in the country. Very big. And Kingston Club was known for charity ball, you know? And I think, and I think one year, you know, everybody decided to diversify. So Kingston now decided that I'm going to try the raffle. And I remember, if you remember Franklin, E.P. Franklin, your friend, oh God, was married to Audrey Flowers. Derek. Yeah? Derek, yeah. Get the money help from me and everything for them going to have raffle. And then I think now St. Andrews so we have charity ball. You know what? Now St. Andrews lose them shirt for the charity ball and Kingston lose them shirt for the raffle. Them never try it again. You understand? And the reason is that the culture of the clubs are different. You understand? So when we say you have to understand the culture of your club, if you're going to be a director, you have to understand it. You know, a new Kingston culture is different from a Constant Spring culture. You know, and I've always said to Kiwanis and try and choose horses for courses by, you know, attracting and appointing elected people to membership who compatible with your scenario. As a matter of fact, I remember the year when I was president, I decided that I was going to dispense with the raffle and try something else. But when I did the survey, they would have lynched because the raffle just was an integral part of our sentence to that. And any president messed with that dead. You understand? So the reality is that you need to understand the club culture. And whenever people ask me to join Kiwanis, you know, I ask them questions and I kind of decide and say, no, you're not going to fit in here or there, you know. In fact, my own story, when I was to join Kiwanis, it was voluntary. The first club they took me to was Kingston Club. They were meeting at the time at the Hilton Hotel at lunchtime, and you know, my proposer, for want of a better word, Winston Clark, took me there. And you know, truth be told, so I was a youngster, not senior management, so I couldn't give up all of my lunchtime and more than an hour to go. I'll maybe get fired. And he say, you don't seem so comfortable. So Glenn, that's Glenn Boyd, a past director of this club. He said, maybe you should let him carry you to North St. Andrew and show your feet. And when I came to North St. Andrew first Thursday, I felt at home, you understand? So, no disrespect to Kingston, I think Kingston's a great club. But just my style and my own, you know, I was more comfortable at North St. Andrew. And other people would have done the same for Kingston. In other words, it suit them, the lunch club and all of that. So I can always give my own example. So every Kiwanis club has a board of directors to ensure the smooth operations, to lead the club initiative and to create and uphold the club's vision, all with the club's interest in mind. And I'll come to a little later why we're talking about the club's interest, because as a member of the board, you have a fiduciary responsibility. It's not about you, right? So the board is charged with overseeing and approving regular club operations. It provides general management of the club. Yeah, not otherwise dedicated to. I just make sure they can't hear me.
No, online can't hear you, then get your voice projected.
Oh yeah, my mouth big. Yeah. Right? So a proper board meeting. You're sure they're hearing?
Online hearing, but it's not working.
Oh. I can't project my voice. Yeah. You can't hear me loud and clear, right?
No.
Yeah. Not too. So listen to me now. So there are certain things that you would expect to see on a club board agenda. The approving of meeting and minutes and treasurer's report. And ideally you should be getting those a couple of days later you can go through. Approving annual budgets and expenses, which the bylaw is very clear. Under bylaw, the section Article 8 clearly says that the board must approve the club's budget between October 1 and 15. Sound better now? Check one, yeah. Right? Can roll it for me? Yes. Yeah. Just giving some things that the board is expected to do. We lost it. All right. We lost a page, it seems, but it doesn't really matter.
There's some animation in here, so there's...
Oh, you put animation in there? No, it was before.
Yeah, that's it.
But before that, we had at least accept club committee reports and approve new member application. That's key. That's just a, yeah, I don't know. It's like it cut off down the bottom. That's what happened. Yeah. Don't worry about it. It's on slideshow?
Yeah. Oh, it's down at the bottom there.
Okay. All right, don't worry about it. Let's go to the next slide. Yeah, I think, yeah. So those are some of the stuff that you'd expect our board to do, but not to worry. So this just give you a quick idea. I'm not going there on that slide. As you all know, according to Article 8, again, we have to take our funds. We must have what you call, and just give you some idea of the income and admin that's used, membership fees, assessment, leaves applicable, and that's the income and the expensive or district and divisional and international dues, convention. That just give you an idea from fiduciary responsibility as it relates to finances, what goes into what as it relates to project versus what I would call administrative account. So we can skip that and move on. Other administrative tasks that may not appear on every agenda, the board is supposed to determine the good standing status of members in accordance with club policy, setting an annual budget before October 5th, I just mentioned that, assuring the club that the club complies with applicable government rules and regulations, overseeing the implementation of club policy, assuring the club is meeting its financial obligations, including an annual review of financial statement by either a standing financial review committee or a qualified accountant or firm. As it says, a board member may not be a part of the financial review committee. That's because that would be independent issue. Move on to the next slide. I want to get to the main. Briefly, I want a quick job description of the board. And it speaks that the board must meet regularly at a designated place and time. From I joined this club, we know that we meet every first Tuesday. Every first Tuesday, that's standard, right? The board provides it at least 48 hours notice is given. Can have a meeting on anything, right? The board may also have special meetings at the call of the president via a majority vote. The board may meet and conduct business. Stop going again? Oh, okay. So the board may meet and conduct business by any method that allows all participants to simultaneously communicate with each other. Importantly, the board may take no action that conflicts with the best interests of the club and its members, other than disciplinary measures and action of the board. All right, I want to elaborate. So, as I mentioned, when you're on the board of the club, and there's protection in the back, whereby if the board takes a decision, which the members, got the strongest body in Kiwanis, the members in general need, is inimical to their interest, they can, by a procedure, majority vote, reverse the decision of a board, right? So remember, the board has a fiduciary responsibility, and you cannot just move as you think or in your own interest. If the members are of the view that you are not carrying out their interests, they can rescind. Yeah, ADP now, man. Vaguely, I remember that at a rural club some years ago. I've never seen it in Kings, but I think I saw it at a thing here. I've seen some strange things, including that one time. Right? And I hope it don't reach my club. Right? The next slide speaks to the term of office of board. In Jamaica, we typically operate with a most clubs have a one-year term president and all of that. You have the option to go for 2 years. In fact, if you were to go to Canada and many of the other countries, they don't have presidents or lieutenant governors also for 1 year. They have them for more than 1 year. But we typically go the 1 year. For directors, though, you can go for 2 or 3 years. What we do in North St. Andrews, we use the staggering system, right? Under the old Companies Act, which we're registered under, you normally retire 1/3 of your board of directors every year. And it's to ensure continuity. So in North St. Andrews, based on our bylaw, we do a similar thing whereby, the longest serving directors limit office. Because you essentially serve for at least 2 years. And if we have more than enough than vacancies, we do what you call the draw lots to decide who retire. So we have a kind of hybrid succession planning thing to ensure that I can think of one club that every year all their directors limit office because they are strict 1 year, and then what they do is elect a brand new set of directors. Many of our other clubs, we do the staggered system where you can appoint a director for 2 years, and every year the older directors retire so that we have elections, right? The term of office, as we all know, begins on October 1 and it goes through to October 30, or if otherwise provided by your bylaw. The next slide just give you a quick Kiwanis structure, a leadership structure, and it shows the club with the president-elect, etc. is board. Then it shows the division, the lieutenant governor who is on line. Then it shows the district with the governor, and then it has KI with the international president and his or her team. The only thing that is not here, because about 8 years ago we have introduced what you call the trustee. So the trustee serves as a kind of go between the board and the divisions. In Jamaica, we have 2 trustees for region G and H to sit on the Kiwanis district board. And the reason that was done is that in Kiwanis, we have 27, any given 27, 28 divisions. And if every lieutenant governor and the other district board officers were on the board like one time, you're talking a 30th board. So it was unwieldy. So they decided that would kind of resolve that by creating what we call trustees who represent the divisions on the board. So our lieutenant governors are not actually on the board now, the trustees. But this is the kind of restructure, right? Working as a board member, as I say, you have been entrusted with the responsibility to act in the best interest of the club. I am going to get into that shortly, but I just want to reiterate, a successful board meeting starts with a format the board members establish in advance. A prepared agenda sets the tone of the meeting. Ideally, the president or secretary sends out the agenda in advance so that no one is surprised by any topics and everyone arrives prepared to discuss agenda items. A few more ways to make the board meetings productive. So I get to the key part of my presentation, which speaks to some tips on being effective board members, right? Go to that. So if you want to be an effective board member, and I must pause here to say that I've used the Kiwanis platform for my own personal development. So I keep saying to Kiwanis, don't see this Kiwanis movement as structure as just one Kiwanis. I've been able to use my training in Kiwanis to propel international life. And I have no apology in saying that, listen, a lot of what I have achieved outside of Kiwanis is because of Kiwanis. The whole structure, I've been able to chair boards at the national level and all of that. All of it, the training came from Kiwanis. Even though I did a management studies degree at UAE, never Kiwanis, I learned most of the operation, Robert's rules of order, point of privilege, and all of that. So make no bones about it. Your Kiwanis training and your Kiwanis experience, develop your own personal brand. I remember I was in this club and DP Conrad Douglas was the first one to, based on your operation, I'm going to recommend you to be on the Scientific Council board. And then the minister then appointed me at SRC board, and then I became audit chair, and then the minister of finance appointed me to mutual security board. All started with the Kiwanis, right inside this club here. So I said this, don't take this director position like it's training for your own future and your own personal development while giving back to Kiwanis. So as I said, prepare yourself for office. This includes, attending training, booking meeting time. I just mentioned, we all know for arguments that board meeting is first Tuesday. So you know from before. It's standard. I remember years ago, you used to have a secretary. And when the secretary used to call and remind me about board meeting, I used to be annoyed. I mean, so me know says board meeting, what she has stressed me remind me about. It's standard, It's like and we need to get back, So nobody is supposed to remind you. But now St. Andrew has never changed its board meeting day from I at this club. So everybody knows it's first Tuesday. You might want to know who was doing it because years ago, well, we still do it. Each director choose a meeting and we used to maybe host it at a central place or at a home. So you might need to know that. Right? Read the manuals, planning meetings, etc. There's a lot of preparation. Prepare yourself for the office. Now, I've said here now, study your Kiwanis rules. You should know your bylaws. Read the bylaws. The club bylaws don't take more than, I don't know. The club bylaws may take you about half an hour to read, at best, maybe 15, 20 minutes. So know the bylaws, especially I say Articles 2, 3, 4, 6, and 7. Right? Article 2, that speaks to membership. So as a board, the board is supposed to approve new members, right? Means by majority vote, quorum being present, and the quorum is normally at least 50% of the board, and you approve your members. And same thing to dismissing members. The bylaw says if you're dismissing a member, that member must be given 14 days notice so that he or she can make good honor, right? That bylaw determines a member in good standing. Because you have a member, there's a difference between a member and a member in good standing. And the bylaws are clear. Normally, to be a member in good standing, you must be financially up to date. And there could be other rules, but that's a minimum. You can't be in good standing if your dues are outstanding for the stipulated time. So that's very important to know a member is in good standing. And why is that important? Most Kiwanis decisions are taken by a majority vote with a quorum being present. Quorum normally for business is 1/3 of your members in good standing. So now St. Andrew may have 120 members, for argument's sake, but only 80 paid its dues, have paid the dues. So only 80 is in good standing, and the quorum is 1/3 of 80, not 1/3 of 120. Because sometimes it creates a confusion. So the quorum is not 1/3 of the members of the club. The quorum is 1/3 of the members in good standing. And the club has a definition of what is in what you call good standing. Right? So I want to get that very clear. So as a director, you need to know that. Article 3, that speaks to club operations. Speaks to the year start from October 1 and October 30. It speaks to the fact that 1 October to 30 September. Yeah. You listen for it, you think them over. You listen to something. Yeah. So it speaks to the fact that the club must decide where and at what time we meet. The board, believe it or not, we meet at police officers club, standard and what have you. But believe it or not, it's the board decision to make that. It also speaks to the fact that no earlier than the 1st of January, no later than the 15th of May, the club must have what it calls its annual general meeting. And again, it speaks to the fact that to make decisions, you must have a quorum, which is 1/3 of members in good standing. And for most of the decisions, you must have majority vote. There's one part I get to where the majority vote is not enough. Right? So Article 3. Article 4 speaks to the officers of the club. And again, we know who the officers are. The president, the immediate past president, the president-elect, the vice president, the secretary, treasurer, and the president-elect, if you have any assistant. So that's the officers. It gives a brief synopsis of the role of each office, nothing that you don't understand. But Article 6, that speaks to the board of officers. And again, it clearly states when you read it that the board is responsible for the operations of the club. No president, no leader. It says the board is responsible for the management of the club. Right? The other things like make sure that you comply with the laws of the country, all that is here. But what I want to emphasize is that the board is responsible for the general management of the club. Okay? So it's important that you understand that bylaw. Article 7 really speaks to discipline. So it speaks to the issue of conduct unbecoming a Kiwani. So if anybody here give another member to carry out activities unbecoming, and it's not clearly defined, but then basically knows if somebody thief, that's unbecoming a Kiwani. You get up and cuss a whole about that's, So if it's unbecoming a Kiwani, there's a procedure for disciplinary action by the board. And if a board member is not carrying out his or her function, they can be rescinded by the same bylaw. Right? So there's protection to make sure that we keep the good name of Kiwanis intact. In fact, the way the international bylaws are also, if a club has a member that has committed a serious breach and become a Kiwanis and doesn't take action, that club's charter will be rescinded from Kiwanis International. So what Kiwanis is saying, if your member creates a breach and you don't take action, we are going to take action. That's clear in the Kiwanis. I want to touch briefly on bylaw 8, which is funds and accounting, and that's a law that speaks to segregating the funds by, you can't take money that areas from the public and put in your admin account. It speaks to approving the budget as a board, make sure you approve it by the 15th of October, otherwise you're in breach, right? And it speaks to the annual audit, all that is here. Importantly, most decisions in Kiwanis is by simple majority. For finance matters, like to raise user money, it must be 2/3. So let us go over that again. Most of our decisions, board level and club level, you can take with majority decision. With finance matters, you need 2/3 of the people voting to approve it. So you can't have a quorum of 40 and it's 20 people approve it using this and it goes through. No, you must have 2/3. Okay? You need to be familiar with Robert's rules of order and all of that. I mean, for argument's sake, you go to IC people in a board meeting, why not board members raising a point of order? As I keep saying, only the board members are valid constituents of a board meeting. So if Late McKnight comes in, even though he's a DG or whatever, he's not a member, he's not entitled to a point of order, right? Because he's a guest at the meeting. And you can't be a guest at a meeting and raise a point of order, right? You may get away with a point of privilege, you might get away with that, but not a point of order. So those are some things that Robert's Rules of Order says. I've said they respect your office. Each member of the club applies to mannerism, etc. It's not just about you. It's about, carrying out your duties with dignity. And, I know some of my fellow Kiwanis used to be very concerned about even the head table and how it looked. The head table is not a place supposed to go in a t-shirt and shorts and anyway, Because it's the office, you expect, I think you might carry to another level, but, really, but, maybe the standard, but the message is given. As a president or as a leader of the club, you must look the part. You understand? You can't be, right? And as I said, the exemplary, lead from the front in all areas of the club, right? Including meeting, project attendance, etc. If you're on the board, when I was president, I like to see my board members leading. They are there, they are on time and all that. You want to see them, right? And something I want to say there, well, go to the other slide. But yeah. Is that responding? All right, no worry. So what else we have? All right, the next slide out says, be informed about all aspects of the club and Kiwanis. Stay in touch. And what I'm saying here is very important. Don't be a committee director. In most of the clubs, including North St. Andrew, we have a director of fundraising, we have a director of community service and all that. Understand that the bylaws don't permit that. So the director is elected by the club to be a director of the club. So you are collectively responsible for taking the decision with the other directors, right? So you're not a community service director or fundraising director. That's an arrangement between you and the president, where the president, in carrying out his or her administrative duties, assign a director to oversee a committee, but that's a day-to-day role. You understand? If you look at the organization structure of the club, at the top is the members in general meeting. They have the most power. Then the board of directors, then the president, and then the others, right? So the president, technically, even though he chairs the board, is below the board, right? So whatever the board said, the president can't overrule the board. So the president cannot appoint somebody to overrule the wishes of the board. So while the administrative arrangement works, it's just an oversight. But understand that on the board, you have board member to the whole of the club. Any aspect of the club, you should be informed that you can vote and make a decision. You can't go and say, well, I'm fundraising director, so you only focus on fundraising. Because nobody is elected a fundraising director of this club. Doesn't matter. So I just want to get that quite clear. Because some club have been confused. Right? I said, be impartial and carrying out your duties. Let your conscience be your guide. Be forthright and honest, always in what is in the club's best interest. Don't take it personal. And you know, the other day, DLG has spoke about the old days when Lionel Scott went on to like nearly 4 o'clock because everything in challenge, you understand? But in a sense, they were good days because it forced you to be on your toes and to do things properly. And don't take things personal. In North St. Andrew, I've learned that, you know, speak your mind and, you know, say what you feel, I mean, you know, as a director, right? Regardless of what DLG, Azia, DLG, Leighton, or DP, just speak your mind and they speak their mind too. That's how you learn and all of that, you know? So when you see Ozzy get up and speak, it's the right thing he's doing, speaking his mind. And that's how I know it's not St. Andrew. You know, you come here and you speak your mind and, you know, just accept because you're a yes man. We're never yes men in this club. And if you know Jasper, Burnett, and you know all of those people, you know them not take a yes. And when you come, you have to come prepared. Because, you know, if you flip-flop, then go and take you down. You understand? And it's nothing personal, it's just the standard of this club. And I've always liked that. In fact, years ago, we used to have a very, and I don't fear to say it, a very challenging member, dear Stanley Hart, right? And I give thanks to Stanley because Stanley keeps you on your toes. And when you come to make a report, if you know it's not good, Stanley going to tear you to pieces. I never forget one day, I saw him earlier, DP Clifton Fox came with a young children prior to one project. And when Stanley tore into me, he cried, you know. He was just totally unprepared, you know. And Stanley was like, what about the parents? Or, you know, the father's going to think we were the ones who impregnated the women and him going and carry on. You understand? But you have to be firm. In fact, I remember years ago we had Monty Perkins. Everybody's afraid of Monty Perkins. And just dealing with Stanley Hart, I was able to deal with Monty Perkins like a breeze. Right? So don't feel any way when you're challenged. Don't take it personal and get out under the collar. Right? You are to be challenged in this club. And me and my friend DP now, man. You remember when I was president, he walk out as president. You remember that night now, man? Yeah. The men have a time, you know, when you are president, you're not president. It's like your last 2 meetings, they give you a hell. It's like, and Dilbert, you know, it's a poor Norman boy, they have to go bring him back. I said, come sit down, where you go? When they start ribbing, you know? True story, I'm not making it up. So, as I said, pay close attention to membership and financial issues. In Kiwanis, every president wants to distinguish, right? And every lieutenant governor. And largely it is membership vision. So you need to pay attention to your membership from early. Because despite every president before was distinguished And some of the members, they never pay them dues. When a year time come, they forget that. Right? So you need to deal with the membership thing properly and make sure that you have members in good standing. DP Franklin will tell you, when I was secretary, when I was president, and when I was president, we collect 100% that year. Both years, we never care about one man, we never pay them. Right? Financial issues too. I remember a club that went bankrupt for years because they took on a project which just never had the capacity to do. So as board members, two things that can sink you: membership and financial issues. Right? Can embarrass you. We have situations where people don't get paid and say, no, it can go into the press and mess you. So as a director, it is two things to pay good attention to: the financial issues and the membership. But you, I mentioned that, as I said, don't be afraid to speak out. Don't be intimidated or not. I remember one year I went to a meeting down by, where Dudley? Dudley was at a meeting, and a good solid Kiwani and I proposed something which never made no sense. But because the Kiwani was a senior DLG or DP or whatever, nobody would challenge him, they might accept it. So when I come to say, no matter, I can't do this, and everybody kind of started arguing, I got rid of the proposal. But what was important was like, the men were saying like, well, we're glad you come. So had I not come, they would accept the foolishness because as somebody like Clayton said, or somebody like whoever, it doesn't matter, you're a board member. Speak for what is right and what you believe, because you are Eddie's on the block, right? And I'm not taking it personal. I remember my best friend in Kiwanis, one of them was like, you read, and you know, if I come with foolishness, I'm going to tell my foolishness. And if I come with foolishness, I expect him to tell me too. But we are still good friends. It doesn't matter, it's not personal. Do your job without fear, right? Do it to the best of your ability. Ask questions. Even if you want to say a football question, you don't understand, say it. Don't put your signature approval to something that you don't agree with. Speak your mind. That's the only way you're going to develop on the public. I've always said also is that, so be firm, but respectful. You understand? You don't need to tell another member not bother that show. Just respectful and say what you have to say. And let us move on. Think outside the box. That's another thing I've always said. Think outside of the box. We can't do the same thing that we used to do 10 years ago. I know that my good old days now will come back. I mean, expect it to come back. It's a different time. 2 years ago, we never know that meet online. You know what I mean? You have to pivot and sit. And it's important because if you keep doing, I've always said, if we do the same thing this year as we did last year, we have wasted a year. We're not learning nothing. Right? We're all to improve. So as a director and a club leader, you must think outside the box and come with new initiatives. Because the young people, them don't necessarily care about what we used to do, It doesn't motivate them. And we'll become what we call, one of them old-time people club, like a museum. Just to talk about one of the good old days. You have to create some new good old days by doing things different. Now the technology age and so on, I expect the board members to start thinking digital and do things digital, like Jason and all of that. And in the end, I've said, just strive to be the best board member and enjoy your term of office. I've always said Kiwanis is something to enjoy. If your Kiwanis is stressing yourself around, go talk to your doctor, right? It's voluntary work and you should enjoy it, right? You can't leave hard work and miserable, I don't want to say miserable wife, because I'm not going to tell you what, and come and meet him, and then they must stress you out again. So you must enjoy Kiwanis. It's a voluntary organization, and where you can get help. Call everybody and all of that. Back up. So I don't think I'm going to go into the chairman part. Tonight, I really want to just focus on the directors and the board. I have a little snippet on the chair. I could spend 5 minutes. You want to hear about the chairman? All right, let us just do it. So for the board members, as I say, just try to be the best with ambiguous. So you don't want to take. Yeah, go quickly. So a few things about the committee chair, right? And I speak about the committee chair is appointed by the president and is responsible for coordination of all committee activities, ensuring that plans established are achieved through careful monitoring and control. It is an excellent position to learn Kiwanis leadership. Upon receipt of a committee appointment, he or she should prepare and manage committee activities and do the following, right? So the committee chairs are appointed. Remember, the directors are elected by the members. All the organization charges, remember, members of also in general meeting, then board, then president, and then the president who's responsible for the day-to-day operation appoint his or her chair. So the president has a right to hire and fire committee chair. And it's an excellent starting point. If you think about corporate Jamaica, if you used to think of like Grace Kennedy and Douglas Surrey. So Douglas Surrey, in the Bank of Jamaica, Richard Biles is the chairman and effectively the president of the BOJ. Just like how Douglas Surrey was the chairman or president of Grace. And he was also the CEO. So he has a board, just like our scenario. But you have some place where some people say we don't want the president to be the chairman. And some companies, US versus UK, say it's the other way around. So Grace Kennedy served Douglas Surrey as the chair of the board, and reporting to the board, he still was the CEO, and then he was responsible for the day-to-day activities. That's similar thing in Kiwanis, right? So the president has that right. So if you're a committee chair, you are supposed to review the purpose and responsibilities of the committee with the president, because he appoints you or she appoints you. Review the activities and achievement of past committees, meet with the past chair if possible, consider recommendation made for future programs, especially committee. So there are some committee need to talk to your current chairman, right? Based on consultation, prepare and submit a written detailed plan, including budget for the year, for approval based on planning meetings at the committee level. So we're going to have planning committee. We had it last year, we have it this year. The chair is supposed to coordinate and come up with that. Once that is done, you should conduct at least one committee meeting monthly, properly organized. Committee should have a secretary, have agenda minutes, etc. And remember, when you're a committee chair, you're in charge at that level, right? So even if the president is there, you know, believe it or not, you can ask the president to leave the committee. Mike, he can't fire you after. But in your committee meeting, you're in charge, right? So you're supposed to run a meeting properly. At the first meeting, you should share the approved plans with the committee members and their responsibilities. Because all the club plans will be approved by the board by October 15. So you should share the information with your committee members. The president is supposed to assign some committee members and you can co-op committee members, right? But you know, we should go through the club and assign members and then you can co-op. You should assign coordinators for various projects so that you don't have to do everything. You should orientate and motivate committee members to the purpose of the committee and its goals for the year. Call members first and invite them to meetings. We have always have this challenge, and I know it's a computer age, but you know what time and still, Kiwanis are funny people. You send them the notice, they must come to the meeting, you know, they're not coming, right? You have to take out the phone and call them sometimes. Or you have to know some of them. Some you know will come, but there are a number of them that now will come unless you call them, right? So as a committee member, yeah, Mr. Your face, Jason, but that's what the thing said, right? Some members, if you don't call them and tell them a fellowship, they're not coming to meet. Right? It's voluntary, they're not Africa, right? So I'm saying know your members, right? Because you have a meeting and 3 people inside it, and nobody tell you, and the other man, you go another committee and you see full, and that person called. You see, it's a conscience thing, you know. When a man call you and invite you, especially to a meeting, it's a difference than him get an in-person email or WhatsApp, right? So bear that in mind. It's a challenge we have had in the club over the years, and not only this club. Try and personalize your invitation. Plan your project strategy for each task. Communicate regularly with the members, including meetings, call, and WhatsApp. Always be in touch with your committee members. Discuss progress, outline activities for the coming months, and delegate the tasks. Stay in close touch with the president, assigned director, and other key leaders as appropriate. Complete the monthly report based on the reliable records for submission for the club secretary. As a committee chair, you should be maintaining good records, inter-club everything, so that come board meeting and make up the meeting, and you forget things. So have a diary or whatever you unlock so that you have a report that is factual and based on archived or well-compiled data, right? Evaluate the progress of the committee periodically and in its entirety at the completion of projects. I've always used the term as a committee chair, PER, you plan, you execute, you evaluate, and you report. prepare, plan, execute, evaluate, and pretty much that's it for the committee chair. So all in all, the club is managed by the board of directors. The day-to-day work is carried out by the chair, appointed by the president. And if we stick to that and we seek guidance when we're not sure, can flip it further from it, Jason. We will, there are just some stuff about Kiwanis, right? Go today. Yeah. So at that point in time, I'd say if anybody have any burning questions, I think the president allowed 2 or 3. Do we have any questions online or in the audience? A lot of what I was saying is just reinforcement. No questions? Yeah, there be none. I thank you very much and look forward to it. Okay. Thank you, Kiwanis. I've been delegated and a task by the chairman of the past president's committee. Oh, so the good old days, we had a football match and DP Rosie was here earlier, was part of our winning football team. So I hope she's there because we are there collecting the winners. That was 2 of the presidents at the time was DP Patrice and President DP Rosie, that's Clement, and that is Berger, looking tall because kind of stooping down. Right, Marcos and myself. So I hope Rosie's online and she remember that. Rosie. Yeah man, she's online. So Rosemary, I'm hoping you're looking on and see that photograph of yourself from the good old days when you used to play some good football and you were part of the winning team in 2010. Thank you very much, man.
Okay, so the response is LG. The response is LG. I see great memories. That's from Rosemary, DP Rosemary. Yes. That's from Rosemary. All right. All right. Thank you, DLGE Layton. And there are a number of requests online for the presentation and the recording, which we will seek to share as we share. So if you put your email addresses in the chat, then we will share with you. Thank you. I take it there are no further questions. So we thank you, DLG Layton. Let me ask.
There's a question in the chat.
There's a question in the chat. I didn't see it.
I was asking DLG Layton, how should the president treat a chairman who is not functioning or carrying out her role?
I think he did say that the president can fire and hire a chairman. So if they're not performing, then you replace them.
Oh, okay.
You want to? Okay.
That sounds like Christine. Huh? Is Christine here? I recognize that voice from asleep, Christine. You understand that story. But seriously, I hear the
Laugh,
question.
Leighton, they laugh.
And as I said, Kiwanis is a voluntary organization. And my first recommendation is for the president to meet with the chair to see if there's problems and then try and deal with it. I wouldn't suggest that the minute our chair doesn't perform, you just fire him or her. You know, that's not what Kiwanis is about. Because I've seen people going through hell, and I'm dealing with a case right now in another organization where a person is going through hell with his mother, almost dying. And, you know, people don't always talk, because they're not going to come out publicly sometimes, and they want to just get rid of the person, and the person saying not to hell with them, you know what I mean? So it's not the Kiwanis altruistic or farming intervention way, because as I've always said, we run Kiwanis like a business, but Kiwanis is not a business. It's not. Kiwanis is a voluntary organization, right? So that we run with business principles. So make that distinction, right? The first thing, try and get help or see if that person can be redeemed. Then if it can't work, like we had a case in our St. Andrew recently, we just have to make a decision. Everybody knows the case. We just have to replace somebody. But I would recommend that the minute somebody doesn't perform, you will just get rid of that person. You do want to dig and find out. If it's lack of interest in coming, just deal with it. But don't. Make sure you keep the person senior. Maybe it's not giving you as president. Maybe as another member can talk to that person and find out if there are any burning issues that is compromising performance. Then you act. So I hope that answers it, Christine. But the president has the right to hire and fire as it relates to chair. But use it with love and wisely. There's another organization, as we always say, rule with what? Rule with love and rule with care, right?
Yes, thanks. Yes, thank you.
Yes, brother. My head's right there.
Thank you, DTD Leighton. All right. We omit to wish our past director Stedman happy birthday. He celebrated his birthday yesterday. So let us all give him a round of applause and wish that he had a great evening. So, past director Stedman, I will tell you that since we've started meeting back face to face, that is the loudest round of applause that we have gotten in this police officers club. So you should take that very well. That the Kiwanians of North St. Andrew really appreciate it. Thank you, and we hope you had a great birthday. Let me take a motion for an extension for about 10 minutes so we can wrap up. Moved by IPP Michael, seconded by Director Damien and VP Wayne. All in favor? Any opposers? Thank you so much. We are going to now let me ask Kiwanians online, if you have no announcement, you can post it in the chat and we will announce it for you. At this time, we're going to invite the Sarge to come. Oh, Director Jesse, you were to do the vote of thanks. Please come. And then we will have the Sarge.
Good evening, fellow Kiwanians, guests online, guests in-house, prospects. Made to the vote of thanks for DTD Dr. Leighton Fire McKnight. As usual, I was well educated by the presentation you had today, and I'm sure a lot of us as Kiwanians are here were reminded of what we need to do. As he said, what was it? Peer, plan, execute, evaluate, report. Something to follow that the board can look into and use as a guidance there. I learned some things and I was reminded of some things in this meeting. And looking towards being a president in 2023, 2024, he said something in the meeting where, you know, regardless of how the members are, you know, you have to learn to try and find what's going on in their lives, because you see, everybody is giving their time freely for the goodness of Kiwanis International, and we're all for the children. Kids need Kiwanis. So I continue to be guided by DTD Layton. And also, I know he's not a part of it today, but I have to mention, was it DLG? Correct me if I'm wrong with it for Hugh Reid. But this is the correct title, LGD, Hugh Reid. Because they are the ones who guide us. And since I've been here, the education of Kiwanis to help to steer us in the right direction. Because sometimes I can see we get misguided and we have to stay focused. So I would like to, on behalf of the Kiwanis Club of North St. Andrew, thank you, DTD Layton. Well done as usual. And I look up to you as a Kiwanian leader in this club. Thank you.
Let's cheer on the Sarge. What? I'm afraid. Everybody knows that.
Thank you, the Sarge can't see. So, Dudley, can you give me some light? No, when I ask you, yeah. I walk properly too. But then me ask Ozzy I reach already.
So unkind.
All right. Now that I have some light, President, I have nobody to charge. So, in light of that, DP Barry. Slow. DP Barry. How many steps that recorded on your phone a while ago? You can submit it for the steps for and pay $200. That's it. Think Kishman, you might not remember the members, so you collect. So members, do not point out any member to Kishman. He has not been in this room in a long while. All right, PED Jason. You stand. Imagine Frankie talk to you, Mark talk to you, Derek talk to you, not to mention Dudley. I know you don't want any information from me. That's only Layton and Hugh teach you Kiwanis. All right, just pay $200 and sit down. You must pick up the man, them man. Yeah. Wizzy, long time. Wizzy, Ashley Healthy, you're not who you pay $200 and sit down, man. What's going beside Ashley and Bar? Yeah. Let's talk about that. You hear you in your time you talk. Dudley, what should I charge Clark for this evening? Oh, so just charge him something on it, yeah. All right, Clark, just pay $200. Wait. Sorry.
You know, where new position is of the head table designate.
I thought that was me.
Normally, you have one more year on the head table, right? All right. Fishman, just collect $200 from all other Kiwanis, right? All other. Let's see if you know which Kiwani on here. So is Derek name all other? All other. All right, all other Kiwanis, especially Mikey. All right. Since I don't have much time, I'll use a very short vote this evening, and don't think it's good. I went to a police station today, and to my surprise, I saw a policeman on duty reading a Bible. I went to him and I asked him a simple question: who killed Abel? He said, "Go ask Inspector Johnson, him in charge of murder case."
How much must we charge the Sarge? So it sounds like you all enjoyed it. So I'll just charge him 200. I'll just charge him 200. 200, it seems he did a fair job. All right, we have our chartered member here, so I'm gonna draw 50-50. DLG Ashley. Let's welcome DLG Ashley to draw the 50-50. Oh, no. Okay, so the number is 843 0, correct ticket, 0256. 845026. 272. You draw 1 2 late. That's you, the president designate. Who's taking the photo? Who's taking the photo?
Thank you very much.
Okay, SLP, thank you. PD Derek, donation to service leadership program, but it's which one? We have to use which one?
Builders.
Builders out of action.
Come back. Save it for that.
Okay. IPP Michael, can you do the announcement for us? And members from North St. Andrew committee members, any announcement, we'll take them after.
Thank you, President. I'm only seeing one announcement in the chat. So whilst I make this announcement, if there's another or any other announcement, please, quickly before I'm done. But the Kiwanis Club of Linstead has a gospel concert on Saturday the 13th of August, which is this Saturday coming, at 5:30 p.m. at the Linstead Anglican Church Hall, and the contribution for this is $800.
What is?
Saturday the 13th. Actually, yeah, Saturday. Yeah. I thought Saturday. Okay. All right. Tickets are available, and President Bev has tickets, and her number is in the chat. But for those who are not reading the chat, 876-549-5371. President Bev from the Kiwanis Club of Linstead, and I'm not seeing any other announcements in the chat, President.
President, if I may.
Are you announcing for NSA?
I am.
Okay, 1 second. For members, Arden High School Key Club, they present their summer beach cleanup at Palisades Beach on the 13th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. So members, let's support this one of our SLP project, and also other key clubbers from sponsored by North Center are invited to join as well. So PVP, go ahead, and then VP.
Thank you, President. It's just by way of an early heads up to members, fellow Kiwanians, and guests. The installation committee is working afoot, and we are targeting preliminarily almost there in terms of firm Saturday, September 24th, 2022, to host our installation. So we just want to begin to sensitize fellow Kiwanians in the club and across the divisions of that, so that they can save that date, Saturday the 24th of September, for the KCNSA installation. We'll continue to update you over the ensuing weeks. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, PVP. I think we lost you at a point, so I'll just reinforce that our installation and changing of the guard for Division 23 Central will be on September 24th, and it will be a fully face-to-face meeting. So that's a save the date. The venue will be communicated and cost at a later date. Thank you, PVP, Mark. VP Winston.
Thank you very much, President. Fellow Kiwanians online, Kiwanians in the room. The Kiwanis Club of North St. Andrews annual Burger Fry is on the 26th of August, which is roughly 2 weeks from now. Members were woefully behind in ticket sales, right? We have distributed just about 700 tickets. We are looking at selling 1,000 tickets, not distributing 1,000 tickets. So for those members who haven't received their tickets, please reach out to myself, VP Craig Tupper, the President himself, President-designate Derek, and the Kiwani and Rishon. We still have tickets that we need to sell, and we need to get the numbers together by next Wednesday. So please let us put ourselves in this and let it happen. Right? So please, for those who don't have any tickets, at least 2 tickets for each member will help the cause. So please get your tickets so that we can confirm the numbers by next Wednesday. Thank you.
And if I can get 2 members to extend your family by one, there are 2 tickets I have left that I want to have purchased for contribution to treating the residents on Matthew 25:40 to lunch on the day of the Barbie Fry. The other thing I'm announcing now is that thanks to the generosity initiative of PPE Dudley, we will be taking a group of youngsters and your requisite caregivers to watch the T20 match tomorrow at Sabina Park. So a small group of us will be there.
What did they do for that punishment, DP Mark?
Yes, I'm not sure if that will help the team, but
what did they do for that punishment?
It's Dudley fault. So we're looking forward to a good day and a good result.
Thank you, DP Winston, DP Mark. Also, our monthly church service will be at Boulevard Baptist Church. It is the third, Chairman, if you're on, you can remind me, I think the 4th Sunday of August. So please note it, we'll be at Boulevard Baptist Church for our August month church service. Secretary Designate, there's a St. Andrew High School project.
Yes, Chris. Thank you for the opportunity. Good night, members and those online. The first Distinguished Key Club at St. Andrew High School, as you remember, one of the distinguished clubs at their convention. They're off to a flying start, and they're having a back-to-school charity project that's going to be done Monday at the school. We started getting school supplies into the hands of needy St. Andrew High girls coming back to school. And they have asked for school supplies and some contributions here tonight. Those who wish to donate cash will be making a cash contribution to them so they can procure books and pencils, etc. for the students. So let's support St. Andrew so they can have another story here this year. Thank you.
All right, thanks. But also we have the play Flo Joe and Mojo and Flo, and this is on August 31st, 30th, August 30th at Portley Auditorium. The cost for the ticket $2,500. If you have not yet collected your ticket for the benefit play, please do so before you leave. DP Barry is at the house and guest, the help desk, house and guest reception area. Please collect your ticket before you leave. Okay, I think that's all our announcements for this.
Public domain. It is the government who typically seeks to protect them from disclosure.
Okay, DP Kingsley, you have an announcement. Okay, so remember, next week is our district convention in Fredericton, New Brunswick. We have about 7 or 8 members who will be in attendance. So next week, those members will not be here, and we wish them all the best. Our 3 delegates are DP Kingsley, PP Dennis, Director Wilton, and the alternate is LG Hugh, and then I know 2 or 3 other members will be attending, DLG Layton and PLG Layton. All right, so we wish them all the best, and we know they represent us well at the district convention. Let me invite DP Owen to do the thought for the week and benediction. Let's welcome him, please.
No. Can I do it in my mouth? Thought for the week. The leadership of the past has been a leadership more destructive than constructive. A leadership that misrepresented the true desires, the true hopes of this struggling race. Please stand.
Yes, I know DP Owen don't remember. Yes, what we do at this point, but can I invite the membership to stand, please?
Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we give you thanks for another successful meeting. As we depart, we ask for your guidance and your protection. Lead us safely to our places of abode. As we continue to serve the children of the world, these and other mercies we ask in your Son's name. Amen.
Thank you, DP Owen. We have to, DP Norman seem to don't remember either, as well as DLGE, Ozzy Lee, and PTD Leighton McKnight, as well as DP Ainsley and DP Franklin and DP Norman. Thank you. And DLG Ashley. All right. Fellow Kiwanis, thank you so much for joining us this evening. This meeting of the Kiwanis Club of North St. Andrew is now terminated. Welcome, P.T. Earl. Yes, I am.
Log out, I'm going to log out.